Have you ever given everything to someone who never truly looked at you for 5 years? Avery Monroe stood behind the success of a powerful man. She was steady, silent, the one who made his world run without asking for praise. Then one morning, she walked away. But just as she chose herself, he stopped her, not to thank her, not to apologize. He asked for one last thing, to pretend to be his partner for one weekend, in front of his family, in front of the cameras, in front of a life she was never invited into. What would you do if the person who once ignored you suddenly needed you to complete their story? Would you say no, or would you wonder, what if this time he finally saw you? This is not just a love story. It is a story of becoming visible. Stay with it. You might find yourself in it. Avery Monroe arrived before sunrise. She always did. The parking lot was nearly empty. The stillness comforted her. She liked the quiet before the city woke up. No phones, no emails, no one asking for anything yet. Just the sound of her shoes on concrete. Just the soft steam rising from her coffee cup. Maddox Productions stood on a quiet block near Sunset Boulevard, next to an old theater with broken windows and a faded red awning. From the outside, the building looked ordinary, but inside, it buzzed with ideas, edits, meetings, and people chasing impossible dreams. Avery walked through the front doors and scanned her badge. She nodded to the security guard. Then she took the stairs, one step at a time, up to the second floor. She passed the wall of movie posters. Everyone had the same name printed at the bottom, Cole Maddox. Avery reached her desk just outside his office. Everything was in place. A small white orchid faced the window, a clean desk pad, a single pen. Her folder with the day's schedule sat perfectly aligned at the corner. She looked through the glass wall. His office was dark, but the blinds were open. Morning light touched the edge of his desk. It reminded her of a stage before the curtain lifted. She had worked there for 5 years. In all that time, she had never arrived late, never missed a call, never made a mistake that stayed unsolved for more than a minute. She knew how Cole liked his espresso. She knew when to give space and when to speak. She knew that he hated delays. She knew he never carried an umbrella, no matter the weather. She also knew that he had never truly looked at her. He saw her work. He respected her ability, but not her. Not the woman who stayed after hours to fix broken presentations. Not the woman who solved legal issues quietly before they grew teeth. He once glanced at a stack of papers she had rewritten overnight. He gave a nod and said 2 words. Good save. No, thank you. No, I appreciate you. Just that. But Avery did not work for praise. She worked because she was precise. She worked because it gave her purpose. Because order helped her feel steady in a world that rarely was. Until that morning. That was when the email came. No noise, no bold subject line. Just one line from someone she had not heard from in a long time. Dear Ms. Monroe, we are pleased to offer you the role of project director at Meriden Pictures. The position is based in New York City. She had read it twice, then 3 times. Her fingers rested on the edge of the keyboard, still and quiet. New York, a real title, a team of her own, creative input, strategic decisions, leadership. They wanted her, not to make calls, not to organize someone else's schedule. They wanted her for her thinking, for her vision, for who she was. And just like that, she felt something move inside her. Not loudly, just a small shift, like a door that had been locked too long opening slightly. She thought of the weekends she had stayed late, the birthdays she had missed, the nights she had listened to Cole on the phone with producers while she waited in silence for instructions. She remembered being introduced at film events. She was always just the woman from the Maddox Company, never Avery. There was a time when she had dreamed of more, a time when she wanted to be a producer, to build something with her name on it. That dream had gone quiet over the years. She had helped Cole build his. Now, someone else was offering her a different path. She had not told anyone yet, not even Cole. She did not want drama. She did not want to leave with bitterness, because she did not hate him. He had trusted her. He had never treated her cruelly. He had relied on her more than he realized, but he had never seen her. And now she needed to be seen. That evening, she walked home under the pale orange sky of Los Angeles. The sidewalks still held heat from the day. Palm trees swayed in the distance. A passing bus hissed at the corner. She stopped at the deli near her apartment. She ordered a bowl of tomato soup and carried it home in silence. Her apartment was small, simple, clean. She sat at her kitchen table. The job offer lay beside her laptop. She took a breath and opened a new document. Subject, resignation letter. She kept it short, clear, professional. She was leaving in 2 weeks. She would help with the transition. She thanked the company. No extra words, no emotion, just truth. She printed it. The paper was still warm when she folded it and slipped it into her leather folder. She placed it beside her phone on the table, then turned off the light. She stood by the window. No tears came. But inside, she felt something shift again. She was no longer the shadow behind the curtain. She was ready to step into the light. The elevator doors opened slowly. Avery stepped out onto the second floor of Maddox Productions with the leather folder tucked under her arm. The same folder she had carried every day for 5 years, only today. It held something different. The hallway was bright with morning light. Someone laughed near the kitchen. Phones rang faintly down the corridor. Life moved forward as it always had. But for Avery, something had shifted. She walked past the row of framed film posters. She had seen them 1,000 times. Each one carried the name Cole Maddox in white letters near the bottom. They were not just movies. They were monuments. And she had helped build every one of them. But none of them had her name. She reached her desk and sat down. Her hands rested flat on the surface for a moment. Still, centered, inside the folder. The resignation letter waited. 2 paragraphs. Simple, calm. It felt heavier than it should. She glanced toward the glass office. Cole was already inside. His back was to her. He stood near the window, looking out at the street below. His suit jacket was still draped over the chair. The day had just begun. She stood, folder in hand, and took a quiet breath. She knocked on the glass. Cole turned. His face, unreadable. Then he nodded once. She stepped into the office. The space felt colder than usual. Or maybe it was just her. She placed the folder on his desk. He opened it, read the letter in silence. Then, he looked up. You are resigning. Yes. When 2 weeks from today, where are you going? New York, a new studio. Meriden Pictures. What will you be doing, project director, leading a development team? There was a pause, not long, just a few seconds. Then Cole closed the folder. He set it gently to the side. He leaned back against his desk, arms crossed. No emotion on his face, only stillness. You could have asked me for something more, he said. Avery kept her voice even. I did not want more here. He did not reply. For a long moment, they stood in the same room, the quiet between them sharp and heavy. She had once thought that if she ever left, he would at least say something kind, something real. But Cole was Cole, orderly, precise, always in control. And maybe that was why she had stayed so long, because she knew what to expect, because the silence between them had once felt safe, but not anymore. She turned toward the door. Avery. She stopped. His voice was softer now. You are good at what you do. Thank you. He stepped forward, almost unsure. Did something happen? Something I missed? No. Nothing happened. That is the point. His eyes narrowed slightly. You feel unseen. She hesitated. Then she met his gaze. I do not need to be praised. Cole. But I needed to feel human. He looked away, out the window, at the city far below them. I never meant to make you feel less. I know. Still. He said nothing more. And that was the hardest part. She walked to the door. Her hand touched the knob. He called out again. One last thing. She paused without turning around. I need to ask you for something before you go. What is it? His voice steadied. There is a charity gala next weekend. In San Francisco. Press will be there. Industry people. Some of our partners. My family. She turned slowly to face him. And they all expect me to bring someone. My mother keeps asking questions about my personal life. My father is tired of rumors. I cannot show up alone again. Avery frowned. You want me to go with you? Yes. As what? As my partner, just for the event? Partner, pretend. Of course, just for 3 days. That is not a small thing to ask. Cole. I know. Why me? Because I trust you. Because you know me better than anyone. Because you will not turn this into something dramatic. And because you are leaving. He added that last line quietly, like it hurt him to say it. She looked at him for a long time. And what do I get from this? Whatever you need. She raised an eyebrow. Avery, please. I would not ask if it did not matter. She thought of the long hours, the silence, the way he never once asked how she was doing after late nights. And now, suddenly, he needed her. For a role, a story, a presentation, for 3 days. I am your partner. Nothing more. After that, we go back to normal. Until I leave. Agreed. No expectations, no assumptions, no blurred lines. Agreed. And if I feel uncomfortable, I walk away. Of course. Avery felt her shoulders relax. Just a little. One more thing, Cole said. Yes, you will need a dress. Something formal. I can buy my own dress. I will cover the expenses. This is a business request. Consider it part of the trip. She nodded. Slowly. Fine. But we do this on my terms. He gave the smallest smile. Understood. She turned to leave. Avery. Yes. Thank you. It was the first time in 5 years he had said it. She closed the door behind her, walked back to her desk, sat down. Outside, the city moved like nothing had changed, but inside her, something had, and the next chapter was about to begin. That night, Avery sat on her balcony with a glass of cold water and the city lights spread before her like a sea of blinking thoughts. She had said yes. 3 days, one event. Pretend to be something she had never been, a partner. Even if it was just an illusion. It felt like stepping onto a stage she had only watched from the side. The soft wind stirred her hair. From the courtyard below, someone laughed. She closed her eyes and leaned back in the metal chair. She had not expected him to ask. Not Cole. Not the man who lived by outlines and logic. But something in his voice had been different. Not just the request. The pause before it. The way he had looked at her, almost like he saw her. That part unsettled her more than the rest. Inside, the folder from Meriden Pictures waited on her desk. It still felt unreal. A role with power. A team, a different life, and yet, here she was, agreeing to pretend for the same man she had just resigned from. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Cole, flight details, hotel name, schedule for the weekend. He had sent it all like it was another business trip. Clean, sharp, professional, no smile, no thank you again. Just details. She responded with a simple reply, received. Then she turned the phone face down. Her mind would not stop spinning. Why had she said yes? Part of it was closure, part of it was curiosity, and part of it was something softer, something she did not want to name. The next morning, she arrived at work early, as always. Cole was not in yet. That surprised her. He was never late, never behind. On her desk sat a sealed envelope with her name on it. Inside, there was a note. Avery. We have a few days before the event. I think it would help if we prepared together. A conversation, a story, something believable. I trust you to lead this. Let me know when. C. She stared at the letter for a long time. No email, no assistant, just a folded note with clean handwriting. She opened her calendar, cleared her evening. That afternoon, they sat in a private meeting room on the third floor. The windows overlooked a quiet garden behind the building. No one else used that room much. She brought a notebook. Cole brought 2 coffees. He handed her the one she liked, 2 creams, no sugar. He did not ask. He just remembered. She took it and gave a small nod. So, she said, how long have we been together? He blinked. Right. The story? Yes. They will ask. 3 months, too short. 6. Too long. Try 4. 4 it is. She wrote it down. Where did we meet here? At the company. No. Too predictable. They will expect something more natural. He paused. A bookstore. She looked up. You read? Sometimes. When the noise gets too loud. She smiled for the first time that day. Okay. A bookstore. Which one? That little one in Laurel Canyon. Near the coffee shop. That is good. She kept writing. Why do we work? What do you mean, as a couple? What do we like about each other? He looked out the window, then back at her. You are calm. You listen. You do not rush to fill silence. You make things clearer. Her pen paused. That is what you like about me. Yes. What do I like about you? I have no idea. She laughed. It was soft, but it stayed in the room for a while. Maybe I like that you pay attention, she said, even when it seems like you do not. Do I? Sometimes. They went on. Favorite meals, music, vacations, stories that felt real, even if they were not. At some point, the notebook was full, but neither of them stood up. There was a silence now, but not uncomfortable. Avery closed the notebook. You are good at pretending, she said. He tilted his head. That is not pretend, he said. She blinked. Which part? The part where I notice things. The part where I remember. She looked at him. You never said those things before. You never asked. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have said them anyway. She felt her throat tighten, but she kept her voice steady. We have boundaries. Cole, I know. This ends when the event ends. Yes. Then we go back to what we were. Of course. She stood. I will see you Friday at the airport. He nodded. Avery. Yes. Thank you again. She gave a small nod and walked out, but something lingered in the room behind her. Not love, not yet, but something beginning, and she was not sure how to feel about that. Friday morning came with soft light and a rare calm over Los Angeles. Avery stepped outside her apartment and locked the door behind her. Her suitcase rolled quietly beside her. She wore a simple blouse and jeans, but her eyes held a steady purpose. Cole had offered to send a driver, but she declined. She wanted to meet him on neutral ground. At the airport, he was already waiting. He stood near the entrance to the private terminal, dressed in dark slacks and a navy shirt, no tie, no suit, just Cole. She approached him with a calm expression. "Morning," she said. He gave a small nod. "You are right on time, of course." They boarded the plane in silence. The flight was short, smooth. San Francisco spread out below them, like a map drawn in soft gold and blue. From above, the city looked quiet, but the weekend ahead would not be. A black car waited at the runway. The driver nodded politely and loaded their luggage. As they drove through the hills, Cole looked out the window. "My family's estate is outside the city, a vineyard. It has been in the family for 3 generations." Avery said nothing. He continued, "I do not go there often. Too many expectations." She glanced at him. "You mean pressure?" He nodded. "They think success should look a certain way." "And what do you think?" He turned to her. "I think I have spent too much time trying to live up to other people's ideas." The car turned onto a gravel path lined with olive trees. Then the house appeared. It was beautiful, large but not cold. Stone walls, wide balconies. Sunlight poured across the garden. Avery looked out at the rows of grapevines in the distance. "This place has a story," she said. "Yes, and more ghosts than I care to name." The car stopped. They stepped out. Someone opened the front door. A woman appeared, elegant, silver hair pinned neatly, sharp eyes. Avery knew immediately. "This is my mother," Cole said quietly. The woman walked down the steps with graceful precision. "Cole, welcome home, Mother." He leaned in and kissed her cheek. "And this must be Avery." "Yes, she is with me this weekend." Isabella Maddox offered her hand. "It is lovely to meet you. I have heard very little about you, which means you are likely very important." Avery smiled politely. "It is an honor to be here." "Your home is beautiful." "Thank you. Come inside. Everyone is waiting." Inside. The house glowed with warm colors and fresh flowers. Voices echoed softly from deeper in the hall. They were shown to separate rooms, but connected by a hallway. "You will need time to change before dinner," Isabella said. "The welcome gathering starts at 6. Cole looked at Avery. "Will you be all right? I am fine." She unpacked quickly. The dress she brought for that night was soft green, with gentle lines that moved when she did. When she stepped into the dining room later, she saw Cole speaking with a small group. He turned and stopped. For just a second, then he crossed the room. "You look different," he said. "Different? Good, yes. You look like you belong here." She smiled. "Thank you." The evening was full of introductions, family, old friends, associates. Avery moved through the crowd with calm grace. She remembered their backstory. 4 months. A shared love of books. A deep understanding. People asked questions. She answered smoothly. She noticed Cole watching her more than once. He stayed close, but not too close. And once, during a pause between conversations, he leaned in and whispered, "You are very good at this. I had practice. Still, thank you." Later that night, after everyone had gone to their rooms, Avery stood on the balcony outside hers. Below, the vineyard lay quiet under the moonlight. She heard footsteps. It was Cole. He leaned on the railing beside her. "You were perfect tonight. I did not expect your mother to be so sharp. She always is." They stood side by side in silence. This is not as simple as I thought it would be, he said, pretending. Yes. Because it is not pretend anymore, he did not answer. She turned to him. Cole. Yes. What are we doing? He looked at her, the expression in his eyes softer than she had ever seen. I do not know. She stepped back. We said there would be no lines crossed. I remember. But something has shifted. I feel it too. We cannot let this get messy. Agreed. Then say good night, Cole. Good night, Avery. She turned and went inside. But her heart stayed on that balcony, and so did his. The sun rose behind the vineyard with quiet gold light. Avery stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the earrings she almost did not bring. Her dress for the gala was a deep navy, soft to the touch, and simple in shape. It moved gently as she turned. Not dramatic, just honest. She had not worn anything like it in years. Outside her window, she saw Cole in the garden, talking with a man she did not recognize. His posture was formal, focused, but when he looked toward the house and saw her watching, something shifted in his face, just a flicker. Avery stepped away from the window. The gala was being held at a restored art museum in the city, a benefit for creative education. Dozens of industry leaders would attend. It was the kind of event where nothing was ever just social. It was business, reputation, politics. They rode into the city together. The car was silent for most of the drive. When they arrived, photographers waited behind ropes, lights flashed. A carpet led to the entrance, where guests moved slowly, stopping for interviews and greetings. Cole stepped out first. He turned and held out a hand. Avery took it. Her heels met the carpet with quiet force. Heads turned. There she is, someone whispered. That is not who he usually brings. She walked beside him, her chin steady. A reporter stepped toward them. Cole. Big night. Tell us about the project you are backing. Later. We are here for the cause tonight. And this? The reporter nodded toward Avery. This is Avery Monroe. She is my partner. The cameras snapped faster. Avery kept her smile soft, measured. She had studied this. Learned how to smile, with her eyes just enough. How to rest her hand on his arm without gripping. Inside, the lights dimmed to a warm glow. The gallery was filled with sculpture and conversation. Champagne moved from hand to hand. Cole introduced her to people from the industry, directors, agents, investors. Avery remembered names, replied with warmth, laughed at the right moments, but she was not pretending. She was observing, watching Cole, watching how he looked at her now. There was something new in the way he moved beside her, like he was not carrying her into the room, like they were walking together. And then came the voice. Avery, my goodness, is that really you? She turned. Vivian Grant stood just behind them, tall, confident, a polished presence in a red dress that shimmered under the gallery lights. Avery felt something cold move through her. Vivian, it has been a long time. It has. Vivian looked her over, then at Cole. I did not know you two were close. We are, Cole said calmly. Interesting. Vivian sipped her champagne. You are full of surprises tonight. Cole? Cole offered no reply. Vivian turned back to Avery. So, what are you doing these days? Avery kept her voice level. Still in the film world. That is vague. I like privacy. Vivian smiled. Of course you do. Then she leaned in, just loud enough for only Avery to hear. You are not the first woman to stand beside him, but you might be the first to mean it. Avery said nothing. Vivian stepped back. Enjoy your evening, she said, then walked away. Cole touched Avery's arm gently. Are you all right? Yes. Do you want to leave? No. I want a drink. He nodded. I will get one. When he left, Avery moved toward the far side of the gallery. She stood near a painting. It showed a single figure standing at the edge of a forest. She stared at it for a long time. What was she doing? She had walked into this story thinking it was a role, a script, a clean exit, but it was not. She felt her chest tighten. A man approached, dark suit, smooth voice. You are the most interesting person in this room, he said. She turned. I doubt that. You must be Avery, and you are James Maddox, cousin of Cole. Nice to meet you. He offered his hand. His smile was pleasant, but sharp. You are making quite the impression. Thank you. He paused. Forgive me, but have we met before? No. Are you sure you look familiar? I do not think so. You have a face people remember. She smiled. People always say that. He studied her for another moment, then nodded. Well, I hope we get a chance to talk again. He moved away. Avery exhaled slowly. Cole returned with 2 glasses of wine. You disappeared. I needed air. You are shaking. She took the glass and held it tight. Vivian knows. Or suspects. So does James. James, your cousin. What did he say? Nothing direct, but he is watching. Cole stepped closer. We can leave. No, we stay. We finish what we started. You are brave. No, just tired of being small. He looked at her for a long moment. You are not small. You never were. They stood like that for a while. 2 people surrounded by noise, but standing in something quiet, something real. The evening ended without more questions, no more whispers. No confrontations, just quiet music, candlelight, and the hum of a dozen quiet judgments. Back at the estate, Avery undressed slowly. Her dress slipped off like the weight of a long performance. She folded it carefully and placed it on the chair by the window. Then she stood still in the dim room. Something had shifted. Vivian's words echoed in her thoughts. You are not the first, but you might be the first to mean it. What did that mean? What exactly had Avery stepped into? She had agreed to help him, yes, but now it felt like she had been pulled into something bigger, something unspoken. She tried to sleep, but her mind refused. At breakfast, Cole sat alone at the end of the long table. He looked up when she entered. You did not come down last night, he said. I needed space. He nodded. I understand. She sat across from him. Their plates were untouched. James arrived soon after. He offered a polite smile to both of them, but his eyes held something unreadable. Later, while walking in the garden, Avery asked softly, Why did you really ask me to come this weekend? Cole stopped walking. I told you. My family expects me to be settled. They ask questions. I was tired of giving excuses. That is all. His voice lowered, and I wanted to spend time with you, outside the office, without boundaries. Avery looked at him carefully. You could have told me that. I did not know how. She nodded. And Vivian. What about her? She knows. Or suspects. She might tell others. Let her, he said. You are not worried. I am more worried about what you are thinking. She paused, then spoke slowly. I am wondering if you have always known how I felt. He looked at her, silent. Avery went on. 5 years is a long time. Cole, a long time to work beside someone, to care, to be invisible. You were never invisible to me. You never said that. He sighed. I thought if I said anything, it would cross a line. I was afraid I would lose you. You never had me to lose. Cole. Not really. He took a breath. You are right. They stood in the middle of the path, sunlight filtering through the trees. I am sorry, he said. She nodded. They walked in silence. That afternoon, she found a folder in the small office upstairs. She had gone in looking for a charger. What she found was a draft, a job proposal, her name, the Maddox Company logo, Director of Development, prepared 3 months ago, before she received the New York offer, before she resigned. Her chest tightened. She heard footsteps. Cole. He saw what she held. That is not what it looks like, he said. Then explain it. I wanted to promote you. You never told me, because I waited too long. I thought I had more time, and then you resigned. So you had this ready. Yes, but it does not matter now. It does to me. Why? Because you could have said something, months ago, years ago. You could have shown me that I mattered. He moved closer. You did. You do. Then why keep me small? His face fell. Because if you left that role, I would lose my center. Avery stepped back. That is not love, Cole. That is fear. He did not speak. I worked beside you for 5 years. I made everything easier for you. And I was proud too. But I am not a convenience. I know that. Do you? She placed the folder on the desk and walked out. Outside, the sky was turning gray. A wind picked up across the vineyard. She sat on the edge of the fountain in the garden and let the silence wrap around her. This was not the story she expected. Not the clean ending. Not the final favor. This was messy, real, and harder than she had planned. She thought of New York, of the office waiting, the team, the blank space ready for her to lead. It felt far away, but it was hers. No one gave it to her. She had earned it, and now she needed to decide what she would take with her from here. Love, regret, or something else entirely. Behind her, the doors creaked open. She did not turn. Cole stood there for a long moment. Then, quietly, he said, I will not ask you to stay, but I do want you to know the truth. You changed me, Avery, and I see you now, even if I am too late. Then he walked away and left her sitting in the fading light, holding something close to her chest and letting something else go. The next evening came with the sound of soft rain. It tapped gently against the tall windows of the estate, as if the sky itself was unsure whether to weep or hold back. Inside the ballroom, guests gathered again. Another dinner, another circle of polite conversations, smiles, and hidden truths. Avery walked beside Cole. Her dress was black, simple, elegant, her face calm. But inside, she felt like glass, thin, tense, one breath away from breaking. James approached them near the fireplace. His tone was light, but his eyes were sharp. I hope the weekend has been memorable. Cole nodded. It has. James turned to Avery. And for you? Unforgettable. James smiled. Good. Then he walked away. Avery watched him go. He knows, she said softly. Cole looked down at his glass. Yes, and you are not going to stop him. What can I do? Tell the truth. To who? To everyone. To your family. To the people here. Cole shook his head. We are too far in. Then I am out. She turned to walk away, but Vivian stepped into her path. She held her phone in one hand. Her smile was bright. Look familiar. On the screen was a photo. Avery and Cole, holding hands on the carpet. Her head turned slightly toward him, his eyes on her. It looked real. Too real. It is already online, Vivian said. Someone sent it to a blog. They are calling you the surprise power couple of the year. Avery stared at the image. You wanted this, did you not? Vivian tilted her head. Your name is trending. Avery, is that not what you always wanted? She turned the phone toward Cole. And you? Your team already reached out to the press. Did you know Cole looked stunned? What are you talking about? Vivian smiled again. Your assistant sent the quote this morning about how Avery changed your perspective on love. I did not approve that. Maybe someone thought it would help your reputation. She walked away. The music played on. Guests laughed, unaware, but Avery could no longer breathe. She stepped outside into the rain. The air was cold and sharp. Cole followed her. I did not know, he said quickly. I swear to you, I did not plan that, but you created the space for it, she replied. You wanted to be seen with someone like me. Smart, quiet, safe. But you never once asked what I wanted. I asked you to come with me. Yes, because it made sense. For you. He stepped closer. No, because it mattered. Then why hide the offer? Why wait until I was leaving to say I mattered? He looked away. You said it yourself. Avery, I am not good with feelings, but I am not your mirror. Cole, I am not here to help you figure yourself out while I keep disappearing. You do not disappear. She took a breath. I do. Every time I stand beside you, and you forget I have a voice. I never meant to silence you. But you did. The words hung in the rain. Cole lowered his head. Then tell me what to do. Let me go. No. Please. Avery looked up at him. I love who I am becoming, and she is not someone who stays quiet anymore. He did not reach for her. He only nodded. The front door opened behind them. James stepped into the light. There has been a development, he said. The press outside. They want a statement. Avery turned. Let them wait. She walked inside, past the crowd, past the wine glasses and laughter. She went upstairs, packed her things. Her hands did not shake. At the front door, Isabella waited. You are leaving. Yes. You are stronger than I thought. Thank you. Will you come back? Maybe. Isabella gave a small smile. Then she stepped aside. Outside, the car was waiting. Cole stood at the steps, wet from the rain, silent. Avery paused before getting in. You almost saw me, Cole, and I almost stayed. Then she got into the car and was gone. New York felt sharper than she remembered. The air moved faster. The buildings stood closer. People walked with purpose, their coats sweeping behind them like sails in the wind. Avery stood outside the office building of Meriden Pictures. It was 9 in the morning. The glass doors reflected her back at her. Hair tied, jacket neat, eyes clear. She stepped inside. The lobby was quiet. Clean lines, marble floors, a wall of old film reels behind the reception desk. You must be Avery Monroe, the woman behind the desk said. Yes. Welcome. We have been expecting you. Avery nodded, her voice steady. Thank you. The elevator took her to the 8th floor. Her new office waited with warm light and tall windows, a wide desk, a simple lamp, a chair that fit her shoulders, and a brass plate on the door that said her name. She ran her fingers along the edge of the desk, sat down slowly, then let herself breathe. It was quiet, not the silence of holding something in, but the kind of quiet that comes from starting fresh. Her calendar was already full. A team meeting in 1 hour, a director to meet after lunch, a call with investors at 4. She opened her laptop. The screen glowed to life. A new chapter. But something still lingered. Not regret. Something softer. Like the scent of a place you once called home. She did not miss Los Angeles. But she thought of Cole, not with anger, just wonder. Wonder at how close they had come and how far apart they now were. That night, she walked home through the city. Her apartment was on the west side, 2 rooms, brick walls, a view of a fire escape. She liked the fire escape. It made the building feel like it had lived a few lives already. On her doorstep was a package. No return address, just her name. She carried it inside and opened it slowly. Inside was a small box wrapped in gray paper, and beneath it, an envelope. Avery. No one tells you what to do after someone you care for walks away. There is no rule book, no perfect sentence, no way to fix what you never learned how to hold. So I will not try to fix it. But I will tell you this. You were not invisible. You were the rhythm that held my days together. And I was too proud to admit how much that meant. This is not an apology. It is just the truth. She stared at the letter, then unwrapped the box. Inside was a simple pen, silver, smooth, her initials engraved near the clip. The same pen she once admired in a shop window during a lunch break, years ago. He had remembered. She held it in her hand for a long time, then placed it on her desk. The next morning, she brought it to work. During the meeting, she used it to take notes. No one noticed. But for her, it meant something. It meant that even when you walk away, some things still follow. Not to haunt, but to remind. That what you built mattered, that you mattered. Even when the story did not end the way you hoped. Avery sat in the corner of a coffee shop, halfway through her second cup of tea. Outside, rain tapped against the glass windows, soft and steady. She had just finished a meeting and needed a pause. Her notebook lay open on the table, her silver pen resting neatly across the page. The television above the counter played with the sound low, just enough to hear the names. The anchor spoke. Coming up next, an exclusive interview with producer Cole Maddox. For the first time, he opens up about the woman who changed his life and why letting her go may have been his greatest mistake. Avery looked up. Her hand froze on the cup. The screen showed a still image. Cole in a dark jacket, sitting in a studio chair, the same calm face. But something about his eyes looked different. The words across the bottom read, Cole Maddox, alone, honest, unscripted. She stared. The barista reached for the remote and turned up the volume slightly. The host began, Cole, thank you for joining us today. Cole nodded. Thank you for having me. You have been quiet these past months. People are wondering what happened at the gala, after the rumors, and of course, about the woman the press keeps calling your mystery partner. He smiled slightly. She was never a mystery to me. Who is she? Her name is Avery Monroe. What is she to you? She was the person who ran my life behind the scenes for 5 years. And now she is the one person I wish I had fought harder for. The host leaned in. Did you love her? Cole looked away for a moment, then back to the camera. Yes. Why did you not tell her? Because I was afraid. Because I thought love had to look a certain way. Strong, controlled, impressive. But with her, I never had to perform. I just had to be present. The host paused. Many people assume she was part of a media stunt, a carefully planned move. Can you speak to that? Cole shook his head. There was nothing staged about her. She came with me because I asked, and she left because I deserved it. What do you want her to know? Now he looked straight into the lens. I want her to know she was never invisible. I saw her, even when I was too proud to admit it. I want her to know I kept the pen she gave me on my desk for years, that I remember how she took her tea, and that I never once walked into my office and felt complete until she was there. Avery felt her breath catch. The host nodded slowly. What would you say if she were watching Cole did not smile this time? Just spoke, low and steady. Avery, you are more than the best part of my past. You are the part that still teaches me what love means. I am not asking for a second chance. I am just saying I will always carry you with me, wherever I go. The screen faded to commercial. The coffee shop returned to its quiet hum. Avery stared at the tea in her hands. Her heart did not race. It simply beat a little louder. She opened her notebook, wrote nothing, then picked up the pen, held it, closed the notebook again, and smiled, not because of what he said, but because he said it out loud, to the world, without hiding, without needing her to answer, just to honor what was true. That evening, her phone buzzed. A message. No name. Just the letter. No words. Just a photo. A white wall. And on that wall, a single framed quote. Typed in black ink. You were never invisible. Her own handwriting. She remembered writing it once. As a reminder to herself. She never expected anyone else to remember. But he had. And that changed something. Not everything. But something. 3 weeks passed. New York grew colder. The wind moved between buildings like a quiet messenger, brushing against coats, scarves, and thoughts that people tried to bury. Avery sat on a bench near the Hudson River, her coat wrapped tight, hands in her pockets, hair tucked into her collar. She came here sometimes after work. It was not far from her apartment, a quiet spot, water in front of her, the city behind. She liked the feeling of being between two things. That afternoon, the air smelled of salt and winter. She watched the sky shift from pale gray to something darker. Beside her, a paper cup cooled slowly. Her notebook lay open on her lap. She had written nothing, just drawn one line down the center of the page. On one side, she wrote, "Go back." On the other, "Move forward." She stared at the two columns, not as options, but as reflections. What would going back mean, Cole? The world they had built in silence, the tension, the pull, the possibility. What would moving forward mean? Her own work, her own name, the clear voice she had spent years shaping. And then, the choice underneath both, who do I want to be? Her phone buzzed. One new message. From C. It was simple. New exhibit opens tomorrow. Brooklyn. Thought of you. She smiled. No pressure, no questions. Just space. That was what he had never given before. And now, he offered it without being asked. That night, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror. She wore soft cotton, her face bare. She looked at herself fully, not the version others saw, not the assistant, not the partner, just the woman who had finally stepped into her own name. She whispered it aloud, Avery Monroe. It sounded like a beginning. The next evening, she went to the exhibit, not because he asked, because she wanted to. The gallery was small, local, honest. She moved through the rooms slowly, paintings, photographs, words on the wall. In the last room, there was a single bench and one image, a black and white photo of a woman standing at a train platform. She held a suitcase in one hand and a letter in the other. The caption read, "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is keep walking." Avery sat down. Cole entered a few minutes later. He saw her from the doorway. She did not stand. He did not rush forward. He sat beside her, careful, quiet. For a moment, Neither spoke. Then he said, I did not know you would come. I did not know either. Thank you. For what? For showing up? She looked at the photo again. You said something in that interview. A lot of things. You said I taught you something about love. I meant it. She turned to him. What did you learn? That love is not a performance. It is presence. That sometimes it means letting someone choose, even if the choice is not you. She nodded. Good. He looked at his hands. I will not ask you to stay, but I will ask you this. What do you want? She thought about it, then said, I want peace. Do you think I can be part of that, maybe? But only if we walk forward as equals, not as rescuer and rescued, not as boss and assistant, not even as the person who was almost chosen, as two people who know what they are worth. He smiled. That sounds like something we can build. Together she paused, then reached for his hand. Not instead of my life, but beside it. He nodded. Avery stood. They walked out into the night. The city pulsed around them. Traffic, voices, light. But inside, it was quiet. The good kind. Later. They stood at the corner. 2 streets, 2 directions. She looked at him. This time, I am not following. He smiled. I know. She turned left. He turned right. But something unspoken passed between them. A promise. Not to repeat the past, but to honor it. Not to escape love, but to understand it. And to meet again, not by accident, but by choice. There are moments in life when we must ask ourselves a quiet question. Am I living for someone else's comfort or for my own peace? Avery Monroe spent years supporting a man who never truly saw her. She gave her time, her care, her skill, but she forgot to give something to herself. Her story is not only about love, it is about voice, about worth, about the courage to walk away when silence becomes too loud. Many of us have lived in the shadows of others, children, partners, jobs, or expectations. We stay because we care, but sometimes caring means stepping forward, not away from others, but toward the life we deserve. It is never too late to be seen. It is never too late to choose yourself. And sometimes, when we finally speak up, those who once looked past us finally begin to look closer. Let that be enough. Let that be the beginning. Thank you for spending your time with this story. If it touched something in your heart, please click. Like, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to stay with us for more stories that speak quietly but deeply. Every voice matters, including yours. We are grateful to have you here.